Hey guys, welcome back to Ask Snes. Hope you're all well. So we have some more questions this week. Just want to start by thanking everybody who watched the last episode and left comments and asked questions for this episode. Really do appreciate that, guys. The video seems to have gone down really well, so I'm glad I've resurrected the Ask Snes series. We have quite a few questions for this episode. As always, I will put down in the description time codes, so if anything you're not interested in, you can skip by and just look at the questions that interest you. So look down there for the time codes. So starting with the gaming questions first of all. First question we got is from Andy Davidson, who asks, what is your favourite, or what are your favourite must-have PSVR games? To be honest, Andy, I haven't had VR for that long, so I haven't had a chance to really delve deep into the system yet and to really experience everything it has to offer. The only games, like full games, I played a lot of demos, which are absolutely incredible. But the only full games I've actually played are Astrobot, which I absolutely adore. That game is absolutely incredible. I really wish that more people could play that game in VR because it absolutely blows your mind. It takes 3D platforming to a completely different level of immersion. It's just absolutely surreal. The one moment that always stood out for me was there's a level where you enter a room and it fills with water and you're sitting on your couch with the VR helmet on and the water comes up to about chin height. And it's the most bizarre feeling ever. It's really weird. And just being able to look around walls, being able to stand up and see your little fellow on the platforms above. It really, VR is so hard to explain. It really doesn't translate until you try it yourself and then you understand. You go, oh right, okay. It's incredible. And of course, Blood and Truth was the other one. I remember playing the demo of that and being absolutely blown away. I played the London Heist, I think, the original demo. And then I played the Blood and Truth demo for the game that came out. Absolutely stunning. For me, the thing that really got me with that game is the interaction with the environment, climbing up the ladders, unscrewing screws and opening panels and pulling fuses out, opening doors. It really is surreal how it tricks your mind when you're using the PlayStation Move. You just feel as though you're actually opening the door, you're actually climbing the ladder. It's absolutely phenomenal, and the gunplay is so cool and the story's really good. So those are two of my favourites. I mean, in terms of the demos, there's one, I keep forgetting the name of it. It's Battle something. It's a tank game. It's not Battle Clash or Battle Tanks. It's I don't know. It'll come to me eventually. But that's a really cool game. You're sitting inside a massive tank and you're looking around with a VR like that. And you can see all the controls and you can see all the screens. You can see out into the environment. And you basically have to drive your tank around and blow other tanks up and shoot things in the sky like drones. It's phenomenal. So I really want to get the full version of that. I have got Resident Evil 7 that came with the VR. I've played a little bit of it. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought it was going to terrify me, but it's actually pretty cool. But I haven't gone back to play it yet, so I need to do that. But yeah, those are the only games I've really played so far. And as I say, I played a lot of the little demos as well, which are really cool. But VR is absolutely amazing. Nomad Lone Star asks, which video game do you consider to be the best one-hit wonder? That's a tough question, mate. Oh, offhand. Let me say. I have to think like last gen and this gen, I suppose, because otherwise, if going back, it's going to be really difficult to think. In fact, actually, I know exactly what I'd go for. One-hit wonder was Freedom Fighters, a game that I always talk about. A game that came out in the PlayStation 2 and Xbox era, and just incredible game. I had so much fun with that game back in the day. I've talked about it before, but basically you play a plumber who joins the resistance against the Russians who have invaded America, and as you progress through the game, your status goes up and you're able to recruit people to help you, and it becomes a squad-based shooter. It's a really fun game, and definitely one that's worth playing if you haven't tried it already. I've always wanted a sequel to that game, but we're never going to get one, which is a real shame. I think that's the one game that always really stood out for me as a one-hit wonder, and something that really should have become a franchise. The next question is also from Nomad Lone Star, who asks, which video game series do you feel needs to be rebooted? Well, of course, Freedom Fighters definitely needs to be rebooted. For me personally, Medal of Honor, it's on the shelf. From what I've read from doing some Googling, it's not completely dead, which is good, but I would like to see that come back. I don't want them to go futuristic though. I'd prefer them to be modern day and either continue the story that they created with the Tier 1 team, which I absolutely love, and especially after Warfighter, I'd love to see where it could have gone from there. Or if they're just going to do a complete reboot, obviously new characters, new storyline, or go back to World War II, because Call of Duty has only done Call of Duty World War II recently. So there is an opening for a brand new World War II franchise, showing us missions that we've never experienced before and stories that have never been told. So I do feel that Medal of Honor really has got an opportunity to be something special in the hands of the right developer. Other than those two, other the Bond franchise, it's dead in the water in terms of video games. I don't know what's happened there. I don't think Eurocom's got it anymore. I'm not entirely sure about that. But yeah, I don't know where that's gone. I mean, we had, I think Bloodstone was the last one that came out, wasn't it? Which was a great game. And then there was going to be the one that, it's got a weird name and I can't remember the name of it. The one that got cancelled that was on the PS3, which looks absolutely stunning. If you check out Pete on a retro tip, his video, I'll put a link in the description, his video for unreleased PlayStation 3 games was a brilliant video, because some of the games, man, and he has that Bond game in there and it looks so good. It looks like Bloodstone but better, and that's a real shame it never came out. So I'd love to see a new Bond game, especially with No Time to Die coming out as well. I think now's the opportunity. Or they could do what they did with Bloodstone and just make a completely separate game from the films. So yeah, those are the ones I'd go for. Freedom Fighters, Medal of Honor series, and bring back Bond. Okay, Euro Hunter 76 asks, when you start to collect for the Super Nintendo again, what are the first 5 games that you'll go after? So priority number 1 is going to be Castlevania 4. Has to be. It's like my absolute go-to game on the SNES. I love that game. I've got nostalgia for it as well because I owned it back in the day. Super Pro Protector as well, another one that I owned back in the day. And phenomenal game, or Contra 3 as it is in the rest of the world. Mario World, obviously, you've got to have Super Mario World, that's essential. Mario Kart as well, because it's like my most nostalgic game for racing. Excuse me. I absolutely love that. So Castlevania 4, Super Pro Protector, Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart, and then it would actually, to be quite honest, it probably would be Mario All-Stars, because I just love playing the Mario games and I still need to beat Mario 3. I still can't beat that final world, so it's a challenge that I need to complete before I'm dead. So yeah, those 5. Dark moment there. Retro Shane 88, hello Shane. Is there a game or series that you think is bad but everyone else loves? I find that difficult to answer, Shane, in all honesty, because I can understand why someone would like something that I don't like, and I don't tend to go, oh, like Pit Fighter, for example, is a game that I personally love, and a lot of people absolutely hate that game and think it's terrible. Now, I don't really get like that with series. I mean, Final Fantasy for me is not, I just don't get it. I don't understand why people like that series. I tried number 7, couldn't stand it. I didn't see the point of turn-based, it was weird. Same with Mass Effect, I don't understand the point of levelling up. So generally RPGs just don't work for me and I can't really get into them. So I've never understood what people like, but I don't really think that they're bad, because they're well-made games and a lot of people love them, so there must be something there. I'm just not seeing it myself. I can't really think of a game or series that everybody is absolutely enamoured by that I think is bad. I think generally most of them are pretty good. So even like things like Fable or Forza Horizon and Motorsport, they're not for me personally. I've tried to play them and they just don't click. But I don't really think there's anything that I would say is bad. I try to be as positive as I can. What is the most well-known game or series that you haven't played? Ooh, there's a tough question. I know there's Dead Space, that's what I was thinking about. I've never played Dead Space. I've never been a big horror guy. When I was in the PlayStation 1 era, I did play Silent Hill through. I love that. I played Resident Evil. I don't think I ever finished it. In fact, I've played all 3 of those. I don't think I got anywhere near to completing them. And the survival horror thing has never really been my kind of genre. And I think mostly it probably comes from when I was a child in the 80s. Everybody I knew loved horror films. My dad, my friends, everybody's into Freddy Krueger and Jason and Driller Killer and all that kind of stuff. And all of that I didn't like any of that. It terrified me, so I never watched those films. So maybe because I wasn't into the horror films, I didn't really get into the horror games. Whereas now as an adult, I tend to watch horror films a lot more now. They're not as violent as they used to be. I mean, I'm sure there are still gory films, but the majority of the mainstream Hollywood stuff is very easy to watch and it's not terrifying at all, and I don't have nightmares. So yeah, that's probably why. So yeah, I'd probably take Dead Space is definitely one of them. That for some reason I just never got into. And also Fear as well, which is a first-person shooter, which is so right up my alley. I love a first-person shooter. But yeah, I think I've played most of the first game. I never completed it. Number 2 and number 3, I think I've only played demos of them at the time, so I'd like to go back and play those as well, because I got stuck on number 1 at one point. I couldn't work out what to do. That was some great questions. I like that, Shane. Time Warp James. Hello, James. James asked me, other than Tomb Raider 2013, what are some other games you will never get tired of playing through over and over again? There are quite a few. Obviously, retro-wise, it's Castlevania 4, Pro Protector, Donkey Kong Country, all the Mario games, even like Super Star Wars, Batman Returns, Super Aleste or Space Mega Force in the States. All those kind of games, and like anything on the Amiga. I mean, just any game you pick on the Amiga is great. All the bitmap games, games, like Speedball, Xenon, Gods, Chaos Engine, and then of course you've got things like Jim Power, which I absolutely love. It's a great game, and yeah, even like RoboCop 2, and just Monkey Islands. All these great games, and like the last gen is really the generation where I've really got into that groove of just playing games over and over. So as you say, like Tomb Raider, the 2013 reboot, I'm currently playing it again. I've lost count of how many times I've completed that game, but I absolutely love it. The 3 Medal of Honor games, in fact, from last gen, Medal of Honor Airborne, Tier 1 and Warfighter. I'm currently playing through Airborne again because I love that game. It's just so easy and accessible and fun, and I really enjoy that game a lot. 007 Bloodstone, 007 Quantum of Solace, both fantastic games. I always go back and play those. The Uncharted games, of course. Every now and again, I've taken quite a break at the moment, but I do intend on getting the collection for the PS4 because I don't own that currently. And I want to play through 1, 2 and 3 again because I just love doing that. And number 4, I played it a bit too much, so I had to put it down. I need to get back on that. I want to play another playthrough of that at some point. Although with PS4, I really want to play some more new games that I haven't played. But those are really the ones that I always just fall back on. If I'm really stuck, don't know what to play, I'll just play through them. Especially with something like Bloodstone, which is only a few hours to get through that. And I'm pretty proficient at it now, so I can get through it quickly. And I can get some really good accuracy and kill people pretty quickly as well. Fantastic game that is. Nat Kennedy Breeze asks, why do developers seem to put nearly all the focus on the storyline in games these days and often neglect the gameplay? That's a really good point. I think really from the PS1 era, when it began with Metal Gear Solid, when the storylines really became the centerpiece, but there was still a lot of gameplay involved there. And then obviously the PS2 and the Xbox and the GameCube, it started to move on a bit more and get more cinematic with games like Halo, for instance. And then the 360 and the PS3 was really where it kicked in, where it started to be really heavy on the cutscenes and the storytelling. And I think it really comes down to how it's done and how it's handled, because like the Uncharted games do a fantastic job of essentially giving you a breather between each stage that you're playing through, and having this fantastic story and this great cast of characters and some absolutely top-notch acting, so that you are engaged, but the cutscenes don't go on forever like Metal Gear Solid 4, which as far as I understand, because I've only played it briefly, it was like 30 to 40 minute cutscenes, which is insanity because that's a film or a TV episode really. So there's no need for that. I do think that they have gone too far that way, and they do need to bring it back and get more of a balance, because gameplay is key. And really for me, if you really break it down, that's what we play games for, isn't it? I mean, we want to have fun, we want to play the actual game, we don't want to just sit there watching cinematics, which for a long time up until recently didn't really bother me personally, to be totally honest with you. I quite like the cinematics and the storylines. Not all games, some of them are terrible, but there's a lot of really good ones. But now I just want to jump in and play my game. That's all I want to do. I'll turn it on, play my game, have fun, not have to sit through cinematic. I object mostly to when you can't skip. Like if you've got a game like that I play constantly, like the games I've just mentioned, if you're unable to skip, it's kind of annoying because I've seen it a million times. I don't need to watch it again. But with the Uncharted games, it's a bit different because it's so well done. I do just sit there and watch them because I still love the storyline and the characters. But I do feel that, they have really lent too heavy on the storyline. They've gone all the way over there, and they need to just dial it back a little bit and find the gameplay again. Which again is why I'm really looking forward to the Intellivision Amico, because it's a console that you can literally just turn on, load up a game and just play for a few hours. Or even if you just want a quick 10, 20, 30 minute buzz, you can just jump in, play a bit, jump out and carry on with your day. Unlike now, where if you try that with a PS4 game that you've just bought brand new, you can guarantee you'll turn the console on, put the disc in, have a 60 gigabyte download, which will take you a few hours, then you have to install it, then you have to load the game, then you have to get into the game, watch the first cutscene, then eventually you get to play the game like 4 or 5 hours later. It's terrible. And the Xbox, I don't know how bad it is now, but when I had an Xbox, you had to put a disc in and install the game to the drive, which took forever. Yeah, they've really gone the wrong way, I think, and I think in television are on the right track with bringing the simplicity and the fun back. Why do games these days seem to be full of Why do games these days seem to all be about Okay, so why do these games seem to be all about what's possible, graphics and other complex things, rather than fun? Yeah, I know. I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? This is what's really putting me off next generation, because it is all about 4K or 8K. In fact, next generation, it's ridiculous. They're never going to do that. But 60 frames per second, and the GPU and the CPU and the SSD and all this bullshit that doesn't mean a thing. And essentially, fun is really the only reason to play a video game. If you're not having fun, you're not entertained, and you're not relaxed while doing it, what is the point? I find a lot of games, modern games, make me tense and get stressed, and that's not a good thing. If you play a retro game, like a 16-bit game maybe, or even a 32-bit game for that matter, they're generally pretty simple and fun and easy to get into, but they will also challenge you as well. They won't hit you over the head and make it too difficult. You'll feel as though you're actually accomplishing something every time you play that game. You'll always move a bit further forward, you'll always make progress, and most of all, you'll just be sitting there enjoying yourself, having fun, because you're not dying unfairly, which is something that modern games can tend to do as well. Yeah, I do think that they've gone way too far being obsessed with teraflops and graphics and frame rates and all this PC stuff, which is fine if that's what you enjoy. But me personally, as someone who's played games for 35 years, I really just want to have fun with my games and just play the actual game. Sniper asks, any upcoming games that you're excited for? Honestly, mate, I don't even know what's coming out, quite honestly. The only game that I can think of that I'm definitely actually excited for is a remake. It's a built from the ground up version of an old game, which is Mafia, which is coming out, which is on the Xbox and PS2. And now I've got Mafia 2 and 3 over there on the PS3 and the PS4. Both absolutely fantastic. The first game I only ever played a little bit on the Xbox years ago. I never really got into it. But looking at what they've done with this, as I say, they've built it from the ground up, brand new graphics and sound and design and cutscenes and whatnot. It looks absolutely beautiful. And it looks a lot like Mafia 3, but obviously in a different time period. So I'm really looking forward to it. It comes out, I think, the end of September as well. There's a triple pack as well, you can get all 3 games, but quite honestly, I've seen what they've done with 2 and 3. Number 3, I mean, how can you upgrade number 3? It's already on PS4, so I don't see the point of that. And 2 doesn't look like much of an upgrade at all, which is shocking considering it's a PS3 360 game. That should look a hell of a lot better. But again, it's probably because they've just up-resed it, whereas with Mafia 1, because it was an original Xbox game and PS2 game, they've taken it and rebuilt the whole thing, and it's such a dramatic difference. So that's the one game that I know is coming out that I cannot wait to play. I've still got games that I haven't played that have already been out for a long time. So, I mean, Christ, the new Call of Duty is coming out. I haven't even watched the trailer yet because I have not even played Modern Warfare, because Modern Warfare is so overpriced right now, I can't buy it, which is really annoying because I want to play that game. Next question from Sniper. Do you like trophies or achievements? Honestly, mate, it's never been something I've paid attention to. I know a lot of people love trophy hunting and achievement hunting. I've never really seen the point. I don't even have a clue how you find out what achievements or trophies are on a game. I don't know. It's just not something for me. I'm not that kind of gamer. Also, what are some PS1, 2 and 3 games that you want to pick up and play? Mainly ones you haven't played in the past. Oof. There's a lot on the PS1 I've been finding. A lot of racing, like rally games, like WRC games. Rally Cross, I think, is another one. There's 2 of those. There was, what was that one? Ray Tracers was another racing game I've not played. I want to try that one as well. There's a platform game called Lomax, which is a guy called Steve I talked to on Twitter, who's actually got a YouTube channel, so I'll put a link down below for Steve's channel as well. And he just picked up Lomax yesterday. He was talking to me about it. It's a platform game based around lemmings, from what I understand, and it's something I've always wanted to try, so that's definitely one for that. PS2, I mean, there's a few exclusives like Maximo. I've not played those Maximo games. I want to try those because that's like Ghouls and Ghosts and Goblins, that character. What else is on PS2? I'm trying to think exclusive wise. I know there's a few more. I'll just go with those for the time being, because those are the ones I can think of. PS3, I need to get Little Big Planet karting. I want to get the Fear games. I want to maybe try the Dead Space games, as I said earlier. And I'll probably get Bioshock Infinite as well, because I haven't got that at the moment. And I remember that was the only Bioshock game I really got into, and I did really well. I never managed to finish it. I got stuck at the end, but it was a great game. Okay, now on to some questions about myself. So we only have a couple. The first one is from Keith Hewitt, and he asks, which record player do you have? I have a Ministry of Sound. I think it's a TT10 or something. I'm not entirely sure. I think that's what it's called. It's just basically a DJ deck. I picked up 2 of them cheaply for £15 from a cash converter many years ago now, and it's still going very strong. It's a great little deck, and it does the job for me. I would like in the future at some point to upgrade and get a better quality turntable, speakers, the whole 9 yards really. Just nothing major, just something that's got a little bit of a nicer sound. But for what I use my records, just to play them, I'm not an audiophile, so I really like what I've got set up there. Retro Shane 88 again asks, you mentioned you want to travel last week. What's on your bucket list and why? Has anything already been ticked off? I've never travelled, mate. The furthest I've gone is Scotland. I've been to Scotland, I've been to Wales, and that's it. I've never left the country. So, the world's my oyster. Europe-wise, I want to go to France, Spain, Italy, Germany. I've heard Germany's incredible. It's a beautiful country, so I really want to check that one out. There's obviously like the Nordic countries as well. I want to go and see the lights. I want to go check out some of the Eastern European countries as well. They're supposed to be really nice to check out. I've seen videos of people going there before, and they look really cool architecture. Obviously America, which is huge. It would take forever, but I'd love to do that. Canada as well. Australia would be nice, but I think it's a hell of a journey. Japan would be incredible. Obviously, as a gamer, Japan would be an amazing experience. So, I mean, just doing that alone, that's a hell of a start, isn't it, really? And then there's obviously South America, and there's just a lot of countries, basically, there's a lot of choice. But really, the European countries, first of all, are the easiest ones to get to, and there's a lot of variety there. And then, of course, you can move out from there. Because I'm not a fan of flying as well. I've only flown once in my life. I flew to Scotland, which is like an hour and a half, something like that. Wasn't a long flight, and it terrified me. I love the taking off. The taking off is the best bit, and I love the landing, but the middle bit, no thanks. Although I did sit by the window, that was my mistake. I shouldn't have done that. I should have sat on the aisle. One thing I've always wanted to really do is I've always had this dream, and it's something I would love to do, and I need to really just make it happen, is to take a cruise to America and to go up the Hudson and to look at Lady Liberty as you're sailing in. That would be absolutely phenomenal. It's just something I'd love to do. I know Daz Cajones de Loro, years ago, he went to New York on a business trip, and I watched him do that, and he videoed it when he was doing it. I was so jealous of him doing that. That would be amazing. Time Warp James asks, you mentioned getting back into cycling. Were you a road cyclist, or did you ride on trails in the woods? Yeah, road cycling, mate. It was really purely... Years ago I did it because I was cycling to work every day, back and forth. So I was doing about 4 miles a day, 5 days a week. And then it was, after that, when I moved down to the southwest, it was really about exercise, because it wasn't practical because of the roads to travel on bikes to get to work, and the distance as well. So I was really just cycling around my local area and just, getting the weight off, which is something I need to do right now as well. But I do like doing that. It's good exercise, it makes you feel good, the fresh air, and it reminds you of being a kid as well, when we used to go out on our bikes and just go cycling everywhere and just see where you end up. Sniper asks, what are some of your favourite UK films? Mine are Rise of the Foot Soldier and Dead Man's Shoes and Scum. Honestly, mate, I don't watch UK films, if I'm totally honest with you. Generally, I don't find them interesting. I've never, other than Guy Ritchie, which is probably obvious that I'm going to like those because they're more like Hollywood films. So like Snatch and Lock, Stock are brilliant. I even loved his King Arthur film that he did. I know it's not a British film, but it's a British director. But yeah, in terms of actual English films, I don't tend to watch them because I find a lot of the time they're either about football, which I've got no interest in, or they're about social issues and depressing storylines, and they're really far too serious, like Ken Loach and all that. I'm just, no thanks. I like to have escapism like my video games. I put a film on, I want to be in a fantasy world, I don't want to be in reality. And then we've got some questions here where these questions are about other topics, and there weren't enough to separate them into different sections. So I've just labelled this as other. So Sony PlayStation Gamer, or Sony PS Gamer, asked, what is your opinion on the hashtag Free Britney movement? So I'm a big Britney Spears fan. I was aware of the movement of Free Britney, but I to be totally honest with you, mate, when I read the question, I had to go and find out more about it because I didn't know. And it is revolving all around her, I can't remember the name of the word now, but basically the legal ramifications of her breakdown back in 2008. And unfortunately, she had a bit of a rough time, and which I can relate to. And so her father is now in control of all of her assets and finances. And recently her father's been ill, and now her younger sister is trying to take control. It's a very complicated situation, and I think the people who are doing the Free Britney campaign, who believe that Britney is actually under control in more ways than just her finances and her assets, they feel like she's trapped. And their heart's definitely in the right place. They're trying to help Britney, and I understand that. But I also think that realistically, no one knows what's actually going on. No one knows, other than Britney and her family and the legal counsel and the judge who made the decision. They're the people that really have all the facts and understand the situation. So I mean, maybe Britney is under lockdown, or maybe she's not. Maybe she's not okay with it because she has said that she wants her freedom, apparently. But I don't know. It's a complex situation, not one that people really know the true facts about. We're only looking at it through a lens of, say, Instagram, where a lot of this has happened as well. So, yeah, I just hope that she's okay and she's healthy, and that she's not struggling with anything really. When I used to have Instagram, I used to follow Britney, and she always seemed really positive and upbeat, and she's doing her yoga and she's dancing, and yeah, she seemed quite happy. But you don't know behind the scenes, do you? Like any person who puts themselves in the public eye, even someone like myself who's on YouTube, you don't really know outside of the video what's going on in their lives. You can speculate, but you don't know the truth. So I don't know. I mean, we'll wait and see what happens. I mean, it depends if Jamie Lynn gets control now, where that goes from there. It's an interesting situation that's developing. And I'd say, really, I just hope that Britney's okay. That's the most important thing. Her mental health matters more than anything else. Nat Kennedy Breeze asked me, has the relative success of New Zealand's fight against COVID-19 given the rest of the world false hope about what's achievable in combating it in bigger populations? It might have done. I think we are seeing obviously a lot at the moment. I don't watch the news, but I catch things now and again. And I know that Spain has had quite a spike. They've gone back up. There's been little bits here and there in the UK where areas have had to be locked down. But this is going to happen. I mean, as soon as you start releasing the lockdown, relieving the lockdown, and you start allowing people to go back to work, to go to restaurants, etc., you are going to see this happen. And as I say, in this country, we only have to wear masks in shops. We don't have to wear masks in public. And I personally am of the belief that we should wear masks whenever we go out the house. It's as simple as that. Obviously, if you go to a restaurant or a gym, it's not as convenient. I personally don't think gyms should be open, because how can you possibly self-distance in a gym where everyone's sweating and breathing? That makes no sense at all to me. I think that's completely illogical, but there you go. And you can't obviously wear a mask if you're working out, because you'll hyperventilate and probably die from asphyxiation. And if you go to a restaurant, that's okay really, because you go to a restaurant, I've eaten out since this has all happened, and the place that I went to was a little cafe, and they separated all the tables, they had shields up. The only thing I would say, the people who served you weren't wearing masks, which I don't think is right. They should all be wearing masks. I think in this country at the moment, I'm not 100% on this, but as far as I understand, people in shops don't have to wear them if they don't want to, which to me is ludicrous. Again, you should be wearing them. Maybe it's because if you wear one for 8-hour shift, it will be hard to breathe and it'll be difficult, but then it's better than being dead, isn't it? So whichever way you look at it, so I also I think that maybe because New Zealand being a small country as well, they were able to lock it down and really get it under control quickly, and Jacinda Ardern was doing a great job with that. And now that it's being relieved, maybe it did give some kind of false hope to everybody else around the world, but then it's down to the leaders of each country to really take control, because every population is a different size, has different needs. They've got to think about the economy as well. But I watched Owen recently, Labosu77, and he posted a new video, and he was saying there that it feels as though we're running too quick here. It's like we haven't got a full control over this situation, and we're just getting back to normal. And it's like, that's not the way to deal with it. I understand the economy needs to to start up again. And come October when furlough goes away, that's going to, that could cause some major problems, because a massive spike in unemployment here, which is not a good thing at all. So I don't know, it's hard to know really what, everyone's sort of winging it at the moment, all the world leaders. Nobody really knows how to handle this. Until we get some kind of treatment for this disease, how can we possibly move forward? We have to, the only way you can do it really, and from day one we should have all been wearing masks. Obviously, apparently they don't stop you catching it, but they do stop you infecting other people. So if everybody wears a mask, it should reduce the infection rate, I would assume. Seems quite logical to me. But really, we need to just listen to the scientists and see what they say. And the last question, is being judgmental sometimes necessary? I thought that was a really funny question. I don't know, mate, to be quite honest with you. I understand where you're coming from, because sometimes you'll come across people, and as human beings we do tend to judge automatically without meaning to. It's just the way our brains work. And I think sometimes there are people that you come across and you think, you can't help yourself but be judgmental about them. But I think you have to really just take a breath and think about why a person is acting the way they are acting, or maybe they've had a bad day, maybe they're just not thinking straight. Like if you're in traffic and you're driving along and somebody cuts you up, you've got a choice. You can either be angry and scream at them or beep your horn, or you can just let it go and say, you know what, that guy's a dickhead, take no notice, just let it go, because all it does is make you angry. And if it makes you angry, it makes you uptight, it makes you stressed, and then you're going to have a shitty day. So just let it go, just breathe. So I don't think it's actually necessary to be judgmental sometimes. I just don't think we have much control over it. It just happens. I think we just need to learn to accept that some people will never basically think about other people. That's the way I look at it. There you go. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate all the questions as per usual. Of course, if you do have any more questions for me, please leave them in the comments down below, and I will address those questions in the next episode of Ask Snes. Ask Snes is a bi-weekly show as well, so every 2 weeks I'll post a brand new episode. That way it allows me to post other videos as well, to keep the content fresh and to keep you guys engaged and give you something new to watch. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Leave your comments down below and your questions, and I'll see you in the next episode.